Hi, my name's Nick Wanke, and I'm going to talk about business intelligence at Cablecom. I couldn't find a great way to show my slides on the same screen here while I'm talking to you. So what I'm going to do is explain when I'm moving to the next slide, and then hopefully you can follow along with me with the presentation and have my slide deck up at the same time. So I'm going to move to my second slide here off the title slide and do a little organizational overview of Cablecom, since I'm not sure everybody would be familiar with this company. So Cablecom was founded in 1994. It's currently the largest broadband cable company in Switzerland. It's got over 2 million customers. And Cablecom's had a lot in its past, a lot of different acquisitions and name changes and things. Cablecom in 1998 acquired the ISP Swiss Online, so that was when they moved from being purely a television cable company to also providing internet. And Cablecom's long been an innovator, so they've kind of done some stuff on the technological side as well as some stuff on the business process side. So one of those business processes where they were one of the first companies, it's not really a novel idea now, but at the time it was. They were one of the first companies to offer internet, phone, and cable in a package deal, to let their customers save a little money and kind of offer all three of those services. It's pretty common now, but it wasn't common when they started doing it. And not only just that, they're also, like I said, have the technological innovations. They have this product called Horizon that they launched in 2013. So this is a one box that lets you have your telephone, your internet, and your cable all come in the same box, and it's got a 6-tuner DVR. So it's kind of a cool thing that you don't have to have a bunch of different devices to get all these different services. And so, as I mentioned, Cablecom's gone through a lot of different mergers and acquisitions and things, and it actually relaunched as UPC Cablecom in 2011, and then today it just goes to by UPC, which is United Philips Cable. So if you were looking for Cablecom or kind of looking that up, you might not find that exact name nowadays. So I'm going to go to my next slide here, and it's about how they use predictive analytics. That's really the type of BI that Cablecom was using, and specifically they use it to reduce what they call churn. So a major problem in the cable industry is churn. The whole concept that it's going to be easier to retain a customer than try to win a customer back, and customers lots of times go on these little short cycles of leaving one company for another. And I've got this quote here from Cesar Sasconi, who's the director of their retentions team currently, where he says it's much easier to retain a customer than win him or her back. Many win-back activities and offers are often too late for the customer looking to switch providers. In many cases, the decision's already been made. So, and a reason why churn is such a big deal in their industry is they've reached a saturation point. So there aren't a lot of people that want cable TV that don't already have it, or people that want internet but they just don't have it yet. They're at the point where just about everybody that wants it has got it. And so you're competing against other companies and trying to retain your own customers so that you can stay profitable. And what they found is that this key, what their business analytics led them to is this key point, this identification of a dissatisfaction point. And once you are able to identify that dissatisfaction point, then you're able to, you can kind of predict future behavior. You can meet their demands, and then you can reduce churn. And basically, they started by understanding that these initial results of their BI showed that a lot of the churn happens at 12 to 14 months. So a lot of cable companies offer you these nice deals for that first year of service, and so right after that happens, in that first few months afterwards, that's when a lot of people are churning. But that's not when they were making the decision to churn. They found out that decision was often made at around 9 months, and so that's kind of where they were becoming dissatisfied and saying, okay, I'm not going to renew later. And they start actively looking for a different company to go with. And so what Cablecom was able to do is target their survey at around 7 months. So you're kind of identifying these customers before they're making that decision for sure that they're done and that they're done with your company. And so they could target those dissatisfied customers with their retentions team and try to take some proactive behaviors to win them back. And when they were looking at customer feedback with their business analytics, they weren't treating everybody the same. So they were assessing customer behavior, assessing customer feedback and categorizing their customers based on behavior and attitude and demographics. So they've got all these different clusters, really, or market segments based on that. Behaviors like how many customer service inquiries have you made? What's your payment history look like? What other orders and transactions have you done with our company? And then attitudes like what's your current satisfaction? What importance do you place on certain types of services or certain types of things we offer, how we do our business? And then what do you think we should improve? And then one other really important piece of data was the calculation of a lifetime value. So that's another way to segment your customers and say who are the really important ones, who do we go after first, and who do we offer basically more to get them to stay. That lifetime value was something that was pulled in from their finance, basically from data provided by the finance department. And that data gets pulled in. And then there's a net margin value that the customer insight team has in their data warehouse, and they're able to just pull that data right up and understand who these really important customers are that they want to retain. And then one more really important piece is they found more what they called churn factors. In fact, more than 100 of these different churn factors, which are all going into their algorithms and understanding who's important and who's dissatisfied and how dissatisfied and why. And these churn factors were things like when was their initial activation period, as I mentioned before, how many customer service inquiries have they made, what price band are they in, what services do they have, what even was their original sales channel, how did they get to find out about the company. So they got all those different all these different factors that go into their algorithm, and really to understand what kinds of customers they have and how to segment them and how to go after getting them back, even what's important to those customers. So I'm going to go to my next slide here and talk a little bit about the challenges they had with their predictive analytics and their business intelligence. So what I consider the first category of challenges, and really probably their biggest challenges here, were organizational. So Cablecom, as I mentioned, prior to 2005, their marketing department was all about growth. So they're just looking for new customers anywhere they can find them. And around 2005, they hit that saturation point and understood that they needed to retain customers, reduce churn, and they wanted to use business analytics, or they started understanding they needed to use business analytics to do that, to really understand and be successful and not lose people. So after 2005, this retention team, and there's actually kind of two sub-teams within that team. One they actually called the insights team, which did more of the actual analytics, and the one called retentions, which had more customer contact. But within this larger group of the customer retention team, they went from 2 to 15 employees in that few year period between 2002 and 2005. So that's obviously a lot of growth in a department. It did show how important the company thought this was, obviously. And kind of one of their main issues there is that and we talked about this in class, it's tough to find any customers that had all the skills, all the requisite skills, and really did they have those technical business analytics skills, or did they have the actual knowledge of their business? So understanding that cable industry, they really couldn't find a lot of people with both of those things, and because of that, they would typically target and recruit employees that would have at least one, and then they would train on the other. So that was a big challenge. And one of the things they use, I'm going to get into the specific technology here in a moment, but one of their software packages called Clementine. The nice thing about it was that it required very little training relative to either what they thought or other products in the industry. So it had a step-by-step graphical user interface that their users and this retentions team could use, and they said it only took 3 to 4 months to train people, which in a kind of a technical industry, that isn't that bad. For instance, in my job, I manage at a software company, and we usually think 9 to 12 months is kind of the training time for our employees. So 3 to 4 sounds pretty good to me. And then they also had some technical challenges. So they had what we would call, disparate data sources and types. So they have these, and I'll talk a lot more about the data in a little bit, but they had data coming from call centers and surveys and some externally purchased data. And this data is all of different types. So you've got some audio, and voice data coming in. You've got some textual data, some audio that's converted to text to be used. And so the challenge is to bring together data from all those sources and all those different types, bringing it into one area, and then making it workable. All right, now I'm going to be switching off here, and you can open up the second video.